Jim Norton is not a doctor. He's not an expert. He's not even a good person. The views, opinions, advice, and humor of Jim Norton does not reflect those of any doctor, of SiriusXM, of Opie Radio, or anyone else. They are solely those of Jim Norton, Lyle Chipperson, Edgar Mellencamp, Paul Hargis, and whoever else lives in that chinless head of his. If any of this advice goes wrong, you are the asshole who called a comedian instead of a doctor.
An icon in comedy, a fighter for freedoms, an accomplished entertainer, and a pervert. You've got problems, he's got problems. You've got questions, he's got answers, some of which are good. Call now 866-WOW-1-WOW. That's 866-969-1969. This is the Jim Norton Show.
Howdy. It's the new opening to the Jim Norton Show. It's me being upbeat and peppy and friendly. Howdy. People like it when I'm upbeat and peppy with a Midwestern twang. They tune in for that. So I guess I'm okay. I'm sitting here still in my apartment. You can still hear the echo. The window guy was here before. Again, I'm still fucking with these windows. And it's funny. He was recommended. And he looked at the windows the way a bricklayer would look at the windows. He's like, I can't do anything. I've never heard anybody know less about windows than this guy did. So he can't help me. So it's back to the drawing board with the windows. Very, very, very frustrating. So, aside from that, I guess I'm okay. I started writing again. I want to do another book. And I've been really lazy. And I just keep getting distracted and keep mentally pushing it away and doing other things. It's hard for me to actually sit down and make myself do it. It's hard for me to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to write. I mean, that's what we had Brad Thor on the other day, and that kind of re-inspired me, because this is a guy that does nothing but write books. So he must make himself write sometimes, even when he's not feeling his creativity. So I made myself write a little bit last night, and it felt good to do it. And then today I was Siri talking ideas into my iPhone. Sometimes it's just making yourself do it. Like, what did he say? You got to chase that quote. He said, you can't wait for inspiration. You got to chase it with a club. So that made me feel really good, to start that. Armani, is that really your name? In Hoboken. That's a very fancy name. Hi, Armani.
Hey, Jim. I don't know if you remember me. I called you and Ope one day, and you kind of made fun of my name, but it's all good.
Okay.
But anyway, I didn't listen to you guys this morning, but I want to know, like, lots of people are blaming, like, Anderson Cooper's a cool guy and stuff, but lots of people are blaming, like, homophobia as to not blame radical Islam. And it's just like, isn't radical Islam homophobic?
Sure.
So why
so
not
Christianity
blame that?
And Judaism? I think that, and I'm not one of those guys that every time you mention Islam, I have to mention Christianity. I'm not doing it for that reason. I know what you're saying, but all religions are just shit when it comes to gay people. So when it comes to that, they're all terrible. Radical Islam is much more violent. My opinion personally is it's a combination of gun craziness, mental illness, radical Islam, and that does incorporate homophobia. I don't think it's one answer. I think it's a little bit of everything is in the middle of the room. And for some reason, everybody seems to have a need to make it one thing. And I don't know why we need to do that. Like when the gorilla got shot. People had to fight to blame the parents, instead of realizing that it's a few different factors that contributed to something being really shitty. I don't know why we feel a need to narrow it down to one thing. It's almost like we feel like our side or our ideology or our belief loses if it's a part of the combination of things that contributed.
Yeah, and it's like, you remember when you used to do thing where, like, people would say, me, like, yeah. I feel like the gay community is doing that. Like, they're rushing to be victims right now, when it's actually, like, everyone should be a victim.
Well, dude, I don't know if they're rushing to be victims in this one. Let's be honest. They haven't had, they've had to fight for their rights like every other group in our great nation. 50 of them were just shot and killed. Okay? And they were targeted specifically because they were gay. There's another guy in New York just went to jail for shooting some gay guy. They are victims of violence, and they are a really hated group, mostly because of religion. So I don't think they're playing the victim. Like when Anderson Cooper is calling her out, basically, like, stop acting like you're a big friend to the gay community when you fought us on everything. I think in that case, it's justified. I don't think that he's playing victim in that one, to be honest. I understand why, playing victim is annoying. I just don't think he was doing it there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's like, I feel like they're people. They all died. It's not just that they're gay. I think everyone should be affected the same
everyone
way.
is affected. The whole country is grieving, dude. It's not like the country doesn't care. We're all affected by it. The problem is they were targeted because they were gay. They weren't targeted just because they were people. They were targeted specifically because they were gay. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There is a real reason to be, I'm trying to kill something as we talk. Okay, I just killed a bee. Sorry about that, but I mean interrupt you. I am closing my window because there's bugs crawling in, so I had to so sorry about that. Okay. I was afraid there was a bee that was going to sting me. Sorry, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, wait, Jim, hold on. Hello?
I'm right here.
Oh, dude, are you going to be, I'm not sure because I didn't check your dates, but are you going to be around Jersey sometime? I'm a big fan.
Not for a while, no. I just did Jersey on this tour already, so I probably won't be in New Jersey until next year sometime. So sorry to interrupt your call, the bug. That's the first time, by the way, that a bug has been killed on the air here on the Jim Norton Show. It was a pretty exciting moment. We'll be remembering these days in the future. Let's see here. Brian in El Paso. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Jim. Congratulations on the bug.
Oh, thank you very much, man. It was one of those things where I was not about to take any shit, and I think the insect could sense it.
I admire that.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I'm dating this girl, but like we've gone out a few times, we've made out a few times, she's hung out at my house a few times, but I hate feeling like I need constant reassurance that she still likes me because we see each other, once a week, every 2 weeks, maybe once every 10 days, and I'm such an eager beaver that I want to, smash an entire relationship into a 6-month period.
Yes,
and I kind of look at her, and I go, I kind of appreciate her patience. Because if it is a long-term deal, then why can't we just see each other next week? I get so far inside my head that I get these negative fantasies that it's like she's just creating things and she just wants to, end it, and this is just. She's just crawling it to a stop when I don't think that's it, but I can't figure it out.
You get addicted to that pit in the stomach feeling. There's I would get like that pit when you think a girl cheats on you or doesn't like you or that agony. There's a real comfort in that sometimes. They say we take a misshapen pleasure out of pain. Feeling that that fist in the middle of the stomach. That uncomfortable, that is something we get addicted to. And we get addicted to the rush of a girl liking us, and we put way too much into the relationship mentally. And then as soon as we think she has something else to do, for us it's doomsday, and we're fantasizing about being left. And then we get that comfortable pit in the stomach. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling thing because I wind up sabotaging and fucking up my relationships. So I get and then the next time I go in, I'm like, well, last time you were right. Even though deep down I made it happen last time by being impatient or by being, intolerant or whatever for her schedule.
Jim, I do so much better when I'm not in a relationship. I'm a better worker. I don't drink nearly as much. But when I fall for someone, it turns me literally inside out, upside down. Whatever bad analogy. But I don't know if I like myself when I'm in a relationship, and I can imagine how I come off to the other person because I feel pathetic.
Well, how old are you?
I'm your age.
Okay.
I'm 48.
That's, have you ever been married? No kids?
Never married. Child of divorce. I got like 4 failed relationships. They were all punctuated with the girl betraying the relationship by sleeping with somebody else. So, I get into that mode of there's a certain inevitability to this dynamic. It's going to end. It's going to end with heartache and heartbreak.
Somebody once told me, I was getting ready to go into a relationship, and a massage therapist who I had just masturbated in front of, who I never saw again. I just talked to her about, like, yeah, me and this girl just started, and it really, we're fighting already, and blah, blah, blah. I thought the relationship was over. And the massage therapist said something I never forgot. She said, well, what you have to realize is every time you get into a relationship, you have to realize I'm going to get hurt. I'm always going to get hurt. It's either going to hurt me because the relationship ends, or because we get married and live forever together and then she dies. She goes, it always hurts when it ends. So if you go into it knowing it's going to hurt at one point, that takes the pressure off. And I always remembered that. Like, it's going to hurt one way or the other. Maybe lesser degrees, but, if I break up with a girl, hey, there's some heartache with that. If she breaks up with me, there's more heartache with that. There's always going to be some kind of pain at the end of it. So it's okay to go in there knowing that, and then you don't have to be afraid of it happening because you already know. It's like paying your taxes. You already know it's going to happen. All right?
I've heard you say that before, and I've given it as advice to other people, but I'm not giving you proper credit. But I forgot, and I'm glad you reminded me because, I'm addicted to that pit in the stomach, that, butterfly bullshit. So I appreciate you taking my call and calming me out.
Thanks, buddy. Take care. I'll take care. Hi, Kevin in New Jersey. How are you?
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
I'm okay, pal.
Listen, with all this going on with Orlando and everything, like, everybody's all upset, and the nation is all, like, crying about it and everything, and coming out and talking about it. And I don't feel anything.
Well, do you dislike gay people?
No, absolutely not.
So is it because, what do you think it is? Is it because we've been so smashed over the head for so many years with mass murders, you just become used to it?
I really think that's the heart of it. And not just mass murders. I'm talking about, like, all of these shootings where, like, somebody comes in, shoots up a school, somebody comes in, shoots up a theater, and then all of the violence that was going on because of race out in the Midwest, and Trayvon Martin and all that kind of stuff. What happened over in Paris, like. And as weird as it sounds, like 2016 has just decimated legends in our society with Muhammad Ali and Prince and Bowie and, like, all this. Like, what in the hell is going on?
You know what it might be, dude? And this is, the 24-hour news cycle is, 20 years old? I think that never before in history has society been so hit with images and momentary knowledge of what's happening as it's happening almost. We are constantly being barraged with violent, horrible images because that really is the way the world is, but we just never had it in our face 24 hours. So it's kind of hard to feel the emotion of it after, 50 people in Orlando, but what about the people in Paris? What about the kids in Newtown? What about those black people in that church? What about, for Christ's sake, it's every other fucking week. I think that's more a sign of how much the violence is being put in our face. It's like if you watch porn every day, you can always jerk off to it, but you always have to switch things to get off to. Like, it's hard to have the exact same video do it because the image is hitting you and hitting you and hitting you and hitting you every day.
Then you're done.
It loses its effect. It loses its humanity. And the fact is, you're probably a sensitive person. You probably, whatever it is that makes you cry, it's probably weird shit. Like, maybe you don't cry watching this, but, you'll watch a fucking Kodak commercial and you're like, I'm crying, or it's some bizarre shit in a movie. It's really hard, dude. We tend to tune out because we are so overrun with it.
And I think too, all the Facebook with coming out and, like, we are Orlando and the pride flag, like, on your profile picture. It's like, I don't know, it's just so much. It's like, everybody is so, like, caught up in it and politically motivated and I don't know. It just gets so. It's like enough already. Every time I go on Facebook, I can't just like see what my friends are doing. Like I have to see, where everybody stands on every friggin' issue.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, this is the first time we've ever all had the opportunity to weigh in. And, you and I might be struggling with it as people who are watching it happen and it gets annoying. You know who's really taking it in the ass? The media. Because they used to control the narrative. Like, they decided what the stories were. They decided. I mean, they're still very powerful and they still can push things and twist things. But all of a sudden, some blogger can have as much influence as the Washington Post. You, as Kevin from New Jersey, could write a moving thing or an angry thing and get as much coverage as something Tom Brokaw said if it catches fire. So none of us know how to handle this influx of information or the ability, the power we now have, or the lack of power we all feel because everybody has the power. So I think that we're all kind of adjusting, dude. It's an adjustment period. But, we go through the same thing. We see people grieving and crying, thoughts and prayers, and then it just becomes the routine. Children were murdered. Sorry to the families. Guns are bad. Mental illness is bad. Click, next event. Click, next event. So we lose our sensitivity to it because our humanity, it's hard to grieve all of these things. Your whole fucking month to be spent crying for 25 out of 30 days.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it means you're crazy. I don't think it means you're a dick. Maybe you want to tune back in a little bit, like emotionally. It's kind of hard to do that. I try to do that myself. But it doesn't mean that you're an asshole. I think that sometimes, dude, we just get so hit over the head with it that we shut down a little bit.
Good. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't alone and wasn't, a horrible person for feeling the way I feel.
No. And I think it's probably not a reflection of who you really are. It's a reflection of the amount of information that's just being fucking dumped on us like cold water, okay?
All right, Jim. Thanks a lot.
All right, Kevin. Take care. Let's see here. Jay in Oregon. Interesting question. Jay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm very good.
Yeah, so if you got my question, I'm not sure who to go with here because it seems like we got a pretty big dilemma here. A giant douche turd sandwich, South Park reference. With the election this year, I'm not really sure. Last year we at least had somebody that could shoot a jumper and it represent the country and give him.
Jay, what are you talking about? I'm not sure because your phone is cutting out slightly, so I'm not 100% sure what your question is. I don't know. I hope Jay didn't die. All right, let's move on to Brian in Tampa. Hi, Brian. A suggestion.
Jim, hi, Jim. How you doing?
I'm good, Brian. Thank you.
You're welcome. But before I get to my suggestion about your future book, I just wanted to give you a little bit of kudos. From a layman's point of view, I think a lot of people love your advice show and listen to you because you give people an emotional answer or maybe a psychological answer from a layman's point of view. You're not shoving fluff up everybody's ass, and you're more relatable. So from that standpoint, at least from my end, I say thank you.
Thank you, and I think that's the only reason it works because guys like Dr. Drew or even Dr. Laura, who I don't like, I mean, they're obviously smarter than I am with this shit. All you can do is, all I can do is just relay my own opinion or experience. And if you're honest about not being an expert, people tend to give you a break.
Yeah, and we appreciate that because we don't like Dr. Laura either. And
She's annoying.
as far as your new book is concerned, from my standpoint, and maybe some others as well, some of the things that you're talking about now, maybe some topics regarding the Opie and Anthony behind the scenes stuff, and stuff that you are privy to regarding the seller, Patrice O'Neill, and some of the things that we all pay attention to but don't have the behind-the-scenes information, I think would be a pretty good piece of information to put in your new book versus some of the over-the-top stuff, which your two books, which I have, and you signed them, they're marvelous. But I think from those points now, you've done so many more things that I think we will be really loving you for, including some behind-the-scenes things that we just don't have privy to.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. It's funny, man, because I was thinking, what do I write about? So I started writing about, look, my life is still very sexual. That's obviously a part of it. What I'm going to do now, if I do it, I'm just going to say it's going to be closer to the first book than the second one, closer to my own personal life, and that would include, obviously, Opie and Anthony stuff. or anything else I've been a part of, whether it was the Tonight Show and again, a lot of the private information you guys know, though. Believe it or not, like a lot of the behind the scenes Opie and Anthony stuff, you guys know because Anthony has said it, or Opie and I had a big fight on the air. Like a lot of that stuff that may have remained private at one point years ago isn't.
Right.
Because you guys have been told. Again, a lot of times it comes out in anger, but there really isn't as much private stuff as you might think. Like right now, I mean, I am not re-signed at this point. I don't think Opie is either, to be honest. I don't know what we're going to do. I have no idea. So, I mean, there really isn't much information to give in that. There's another bug in my room. What the fuck? I open my windows for an hour and all of a sudden it's a fucking Hitchcock film with insects. But I just don't know. But I do know why you're saying that. And I would absolutely give, inside information about stuff if I thought people wanted to hear it, of course.
Right. And I don't think just more about that, but also, your love affair with certain bands or certain people. And, again, we feel that we can connect with you on some way, shape, or form. So you being close to Ozzy, and how did you get close to him, and how are you feeling while you're going through and seeing all these current things happening to him, I think would just definitely be a page turner for us. Have a great day, Jim.
Thanks, pal. You too. I appreciate it very much. Let's see here. How about Rod in Canada? Hi, Rod.
Going.
It's Roland?
Nope, it's Rod.
Oh, hi, Rod. How are you?
Not too bad. How's it going, Jimmy?
I'm good, Rod.
Good, right on.
Hey, are you hot, Rod?
Thank you.
You heard what I said?
What you do? Ooh, hello?
Yeah, I'm right here, buddy.
Okay. No, just thank you what you guys do on the radio and whatnot. I drive truck, so for the 4 or 5 hours that you guys are on the radio, it helps. I lost my dad 7 years ago to a heart attack, and since my dad passed away, well, me and my sister haven't talked. Some shit that was said, after my dad passed away and whatnot, and I tried. She lives 2 hours away from me, so. And sometimes she'll come into town, and she won't even say that she's in town. Okay. And then I'll find out by my cousin. Says, did you talk to your sister? I'm like, no. Why? Cause she was in town all weekend. Okay. And, it's just, she gives the same type of treatment to my mom, and it really pisses me off. And then my mom's like, listen, just let her be, sure. just whatever. And I'm not sure if, and I tried to confront her, and when we confront her, she turns to yeah, yeah, like she kind of turns off, and it's eating me up inside, because, once my mom goes, well, she's the only really family I have, and we're 7 years apart, and I remember when I was young, she'd bring me to hockey, and we were always together, and then it kind of changed, or once I hit, 17, 18, and start dating and whatnot and whatever, and never been the same. And since my dad passed, like I said, it's been worse. And
how long ago did your dad die?
7 years ago now.
Oh, 7 years ago. Yeah. And wow, and the sister hasn't talked. Why don't you you could ask her? I mean, what would happen if you just asked her? You don't have to yell at her. You sometimes can just ask something.
Yeah, because I know sometimes I'll call because I'm godfather to her oldest daughter, and I'll call and I know they're there, and it's the answer that picks up, or it's the kids that pick up. And it's, is your mom there? And then I'll talk to her, and she's like, yep, yep. So I know she's kind of turned off, and then she does the same treatment to my mom, which pisses me off twice, because, you don't want to talk to me. I'm your brother, that's fine, but don't do that to your mom, right?
What do you think it is?
I really don't know. Well, I know me and my mom, we talked about it, and I talked with one of my cousins that I'm really close with, and she's like, I think she never really got over that my dad passed away, sure. And she never vented it out or whatever, and I think that's part of the problem, and she's kind of reserved too, so but, and then, like I said, you talk to her about it, and she just fucking turns, she's not even there. So, and then my mom's like, just let her be, and yeah, I know, but it, like I said, it kind of eats you up inside that,
Sure.
We were so close before, and now that, she comes into town, and I got 2 kids, and, she doesn't even, tells me that she's in town, So, it's I don't know, and I just don't know which way just to let it fucking be, or, you know.
I think you can ask her. I think you can ask her nicely. I don't think you have to. You don't have to be nasty or confrontational. A lot of times we have these weird things. I noticed in my own life I have. Sometimes just because I build up confrontations. And sometimes just asking somebody gets you the answer you want. And then maybe they realize they're doing something they didn't even know they were doing.
Okay.
All right.
Right on. Hey, and Jimmy, are you ever going to come to the East Coast of Canada?
I want to, yeah, but again, it's a matter of part of the problem is the radio show because that really cuts my schedule down, and also I'm in the middle of a tour right now, and I'm going to shoot it, and we're trying to figure out the shoot date. That's why my tour has kind of been a little bit topsy-turvy at the end here, because once we have a concrete shoot date, then I can completely build around it.
But talk to Bill. Bill came to Moncton and Halifax, and I went to see Bill in Moncton. He was awesome.
Well, I can't do the rooms, Bill. Bill does much bigger rooms than I do. But he's the one, Bill Burr is the one who put the fucking go to Europe bug in my head, and I'm listening to him, trying to get over there or to Australia. I really want to do those. Like, dude, just go, Jimmy. Who you listen to? You know, he really. There's nothing worse than hearing Bill Burr's voice in your head when you're alone.
Yeah.
But I do. Yeah, dude, just go. But I think he's right, and I'm 47. I'm like, what am I waiting for? So I am going to get to London and Australia. I was supposed to possibly be going to London this early in July, but the festival date didn't work out because my agent wanted to send me to Ireland as well, and I have to go to Vegas for UFC because I'm doing a live a podcast there. So I got to run, buddy. But thank you for the call. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Take care. Let's see here. John in New York. Hey, John.
Hey. You
How are you?
socksucker.
Hey, buddy. What's up, sock piece of garbage?
I know it's an advice show, but I wanted to say about this piece of garbage in Orlando.
Sure.
He like broke all the rules. He's not going to meet Allah. He is not going to get his virgins because he was a homosexual.
Yeah,
So
that's what he believes.
His plot was worthless.
You know what's funny, man? You wonder, like, if let's just say he is gay, that's such a torment when your father is such a dick and you're so religious, and your other wife noticed you had gay tendencies. So you either want to wipe gay people out because you're so angry at yourself, or like it seemed like they said he was kind of creepy on Grindr. So I'm wondering, like, maybe these guys weren't fucking him and he wasn't even getting relief there. Who knows, man? The guy was just a tormented soul and a fucking a sociopath. You know, again, it's more than just guns and it's more than just Islam. Just because you have guns in Islam doesn't mean that you're not mentally ill. It doesn't mean that you're not a fucking mental patient, narcissist, sociopath who wants to, ease your own pain by hurting other people. So the guy was a piece of shit. So whether or not he was gay or straight, there's a lot more to it than that, I think.
Yeah. But you know what? The co-workers and the bosses, they've seen this.
Yeah, they did.
And they should have reported it because they were afraid to be fired. And that's not right.
I totally agree. It's like Major Hassan in the military. That's what political correctness is. They saw it in him, and they were simply afraid because they didn't want to be misconstrued as anti-Islamic. It's insanity. It's total insanity.
And now look what happened.
Yeah, but again, there was a white guy, and I keep saying this because the problem is a lot bigger than Islam. Islam's a problem. Radical Islam is definitely a fucking major problem, but it's not the only one. So, Trump and all these guys that are only focusing on that should really shut the fuck up. And Hillary, who's only talking about guns, it's like, get to mental illness and really hit Islam too,
Yeah, well, you know what? In 1941, we had a little problem with Japan. In 1945, we made amends.
Yeah, we certainly did solve that one. All right?
All right.
Thank you, John. Let's see here. This is an interesting one. Hi, Casey in Pennsylvania.
Jimmy.
Hey, buddy.
I have a young lady that I'm involved with, and she not only wants the cuckold situation, but she wants it with a light-skinned black man.
How long you been dating her?
We've been together for 7 years.
Oh, a while. Had you ever talked about it before?
We have talked about everything and anything. She's a squirter. She's multi-orgasmic. She is everything a man could want in a woman because she's not closed-minded to anything.
And cuckolding, does it turn you on?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So now has she been mentioned? You said she wants this, but is it something that you had mentioned and now she's like, yeah, I would do that?
We were just listening to you and other couples calling in about it. I shouldn't say other couples, but other people calling in about it and all that. And she looked at me with blue eyes of hers that just make you melt. And it's like, she goes, that sounds hot. Can we do that? And I said, we can do anything you want to do.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and my question is, are there boundaries? Are there rules? Or do I
don't know, dude.
And let happen what happened?
Totally. Well, that's up to you two. Like, I had minimal experience with cuckolding, where a girl I dated, I've done it with a couple different girls, but where we had a guy come over and I watched her suck his dick, and it was really hot. It was so hot to see her blowing a guy with a bigger dick than me and her getting into it like she was so dirty. But I realized that if he had fucked her in that moment, I would have got a little jealous. So we started with something that was light. Like, you have to set the boundaries and make sure that the guy knows the boundaries, and even tell him, hey, it may not happen when you come over. And he has to be like, okay, if it doesn't, then we'll all just talk and try it another time. You know, you guys just got to be honest with your experience level, I think. And this way, if he comes over, he's not some asshole about it, and your wife and you don't feel pressure to go through with it. And you have to remember, it's you and your girl against the person. In the sense, what you want and what she wants is much more important than what the outsider wants. So if one of you is uncomfortable, the experience has to end. That's it.
Okay. All right.
Have fun.
Jimmy, you're the best. Thank you.
All right. You lucky devil. Enjoy. Hello. Hi, Joe in Milwaukee. Has some advice for Jim Norton. That's the beauty of the advice show. Who says Jim Norton can only give advice? Maybe Jim can get advice. Hi, Joe.
Hi, I've been a fan for a while.
Of course you have. You have ears, don't you? I'm kidding. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
I hear about you. You have problems falling asleep, staying asleep, whatever.
Yes, I do.
Now, a while ago, I came up with a theory. Now, I take a 5-hour energy, and after about 6 hours, it starts wearing off. I'm tired again. So if you want to go to bed at midnight, if you take a 5-hour energy at 6 p.m., by the time it wears off, it might help you get tired at night.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. For me, Joe, coffee kills me so much. I don't trust myself to do that. But like a lot of times when Kenny and I would drive very late at night, he would take a 5-hour energy and he gets really antsy and his little legs start shaking, which is odd because Kenny is so even keeled. But then he kind of crashes from it and still goes to bed. So yeah, that's not a bad thing, but I think I'm a little too high strung.
That's why I was thinking 6 hours, because it'll give you an extra hour to let it wear off even more. And I have another piece of advice for you.
Okay, Joe.
Now, I heard you today saying that you want to check out these big trucks, and
yes.
So why don't you Google like Freightliner or a truck place, like a car dealer, like truck dealers around cities where you go. You just pop in and say, I want to look at one of your trucks, and they'll let you look at it, thinking that they might be able to sell you one.
I probably should do. I just haven't thought of it when I've been on the road, but you're right. I should do that.
Yeah. Just Google the city. Just Google the Freightliner or a Mack or a Volvo, somebody that manufactures big trucks. Find out the location in the city you're going to be and give yourself about an hour's worth. Because it's only going to look at cars, would it take 5 or 10 minutes? The same thing for a truck.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. Hey, Sid in Calgary. I think you're misunderstanding me. Hello.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Can you hear me clear?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. I love the show. You and Opie, you and Anthony. Like this is kind of a high moment of mine for radio. This is cool. I just want to say one thing, Jimmy. Though, like 99.9% of the stuff you talk about, I agree with, man. You the man type of thing, right?
Thank you.
But I know this is not like a religious show, and I don't want to bring Islam and Christianity and Judaism and all that stuff on it. But there's one thing. Islam is always under a microscope. I'm not exactly a religious person myself. It's always under a microscope. The one thing you guys say on your show that irks me a little bit is referring to radical Islam as Islam. And these are two totally different things. Again, I'm not like a religious guy,
right.
But most of the people in Islam or Christianity or anybody really just want to live a peaceful, happy life.
Hold on, Sid, let me jump in, only because I do agree with you. And if you look at what I tweeted the other night, I said radical Islam. The problem is Islam is under a microscope because Christianity had its horrendously violent stuff, the Inquisition, all this stuff. Islam is a newer religion, so we're kind of in that shitty period of it. Like, again, if we had been talking a few hundred years ago, we'd have been talking about Christianity. So that's all that is. And they are the ones that happen to be doing most of the news-making explosive shit lately. So that's why. I mean, again, there isn't, 1,000 years ago or 800 years ago, there wasn't CNN. There wasn't Twitter. There wasn't 24-hour news cycle where everything Christianity did that was violent and barbaric, and there was a lot of it, was put. But let me ask you something. When we talk about molesting priests, and I raised this today, I talk about Christianity. I don't ever say Islam when I'm talking about molesting. I mean, occasionally you hear about rabbis doing it. But typically when we talk about like molesters in religion, we think of Catholicism and the priest. I never throw Islam in with that. I never throw other religions in with that. I keep that on Christianity. So it's like I just try to be accurate with what I see, but radical Islam is obviously the one we're talking about.
You're absolutely right with the Christianity thing, and I got a bunch of Christian friends, and when all that shit was going down, they were thrown under the microscope, right? But I knew in my heart, my neighbor, he's a Christian guy. He goes to church every Sunday. He has a barbecue in his backyard every Saturday. His kids are playing with my kids. He's down to earth. He's a really good. He might be a priest. He might not be. I know he's a religious man. Most of the people that I deal with on the religious side, most of them are. In fact, I could probably say 100% of them, because I don't know a lot of people, but 100% of them, I think, are really, really good people. Now, when all that shit was going down with the priests and stuff, I knew myself, okay, you know what, this is going to be pretty rough. The priests are going to be thrown under the bus, and it's going to be all Christians or all Catholic priests or all these people are all bad. But I know they're not all bad, right? And the media, you guys have such power. It's unbelievable how much power you guys have. And I don't think we do.
I don't think we do. No. I give people credit for making their own decisions. But you have to realize something, too, about Islam. And one of the reasons I talk the way I do, I'm not lumping these people in with Islam. They say that's why they're doing it. Like, that's the difference. Like, it's not like we don't know if they're Muslim or not. This guy said, I'm doing this for this reason. Whether it was 9/11 or whether it was a lot of these guys, like the reason white supremacy got lumped in so much with Dylan Roof is because he said, this is why I'm doing it. Like, he said something about like white, he had a history of that type of talk, and I think that's at least why he said why he was doing it. So when the shooter themselves announced that that's their intentions, or when Major Hassan is in the military base yelling, Allahu Akbar, Allah, they're telling you this is why I'm doing it, so it's not a big leap. You know what I mean? I got to run, dude, because we get a lot of calls, but I do hear what you're saying.
No, man, you're the man. Keep up the good work, man.
All right, thank you, Sid. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Patrick in Atlanta. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Jimmy, how's it going?
Oh, I couldn't be more delightful if I tried. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I got a big problem, buddy.
Oh, no, me too. It's called my penis. All right, kidding, of course. That's a small, mealy problem. Okay, what's going on?
My son idolizes you. He's 12.
Oh, he's a good boy.
Nah, he's great. He's awesome. He wants to be a comedian. He walks around all day like somebody says something funny. He'll be like, double guns, Chipacino, or something like that. But my wife will be like, what the fuck is he talking about? But anyway, at what point do I let him see some of your specials or let him hear some of the tranny talk or your sex shit? Or...
Well, it's up to you. Like, you have to, like, what kind of movies does he watch? I mean, it is an adult act, but again, it's only language. Like, there's no... Yeah. It's only comedic language. So, what does he see in movies? Or hear, I should say.
I let him, if it's me, I let him hear just about anything. I don't care. As long as he doesn't say anything in front of other people.
Well, you should watch the special first. See if you feel comfortable with him seeing that stuff.
I've seen all. I'm just like, God, how old are you? But even like on the radio, when you start, if they start talking a little bit too much about
stuff,
I'm like, all right, listen, let's change it for a few minutes. But listen, he wants to be a comedian. I'm telling you, the kid he's Jim Norton's biggest fan. But
oh, that's nice. Thank you.
He wants to be a comedian and everything else now because he's listening to the show and stuff. What advice would you have for a kid that's 12?
Here's what I would advise. Excuse me. I would say write all the things you think that are funny down. Write them down. This way you don't forget them. Or talk them into Siri, into a notebook, like little application on your phone or your iPad or whatever. And I would say, watch comedians, see what it is they do. Because again, at that age, when I was very young, I did watch a lot of comedians. I watched Rodney Dangerfield, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Robert Klein. So tell them to watch a lot of these guys. Watch some of the older guys. Watch some of the newer guys like Burr and Tosh. And then watch the Robert Kleins and the Carlins to get like a real feel for where comedy kind of comes from and what it's evolved to or what it's devolved into, however you want to look at it. And then find out who he is comedically. But he's very, very young. So all he can do right now is really watch stuff. But tell him to write down his ideas. Get in the habit of trying to write jokes. Some will be good. Most will be terrible. And that's okay. That's the odds for all of us.
I appreciate it, Jimmy. Thanks.
But tell him, don't give up. He's young enough to start now. Chappelle got on stage, I think, when he was 15 or 16. So your son's right on track.
Yeah, I told him. I said, just, whatever you want to do in life, as long as you're going to love it, I want you to do it.
And in 10 years, tell him to put me in a fucking movie. I'll only be 57. He'll be 22. He'll be a young star. Tell him to put me in a film, right?
Absolutely. You got it.
Goodbye, mister. Hi, Jesse in Oregon. How are you?
Hey, just first off, I got to commend you. I've heard you grow over the years. You're serious, and you're freaking getting more and more awesome, man.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, no worries. So I got a question for you. So my mom, over the years, has had some issues, bad relationships, stuff like that. Now she's to the point where she's taking Xanax, overdoing it, has a drinking issue, tried killing herself, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, it's been the last crazy couple of years. So anyways, she happens to always accidentally call me when she's fucked up, pretty much, is the best way to put it. Nobody in my family, I live in Idaho, my family's in California. Nobody in my family down there, my sister, she's living with my aunt, nobody's really stepping up to the plate.
Sure.
She always talks about trying to get into rehab, whatever, yada, yada. My question is, like, for example, like I said, she tried killing herself. She actually accomplished it, died for 3 minutes. Walking, talking miracle afterwards. Now she's just back in the same rigmarole where she's taking more pills than she should be, all kinds of fun stuff. So my actual question is, when she calls me, I always get the urge to just call 911, call the cops on her, because it seems like unless she gets that reality check from law enforcement, which I used to be law enforcement, I don't think she's ever going to get better. I think she's just going to progressively get worse and actually accomplish what she tried doing the first time.
You mean she'll call you and say, I'm committing suicide, or she'll just call you drunk?
She'll call me drunk or inebriated, saying, oh, I didn't mean to call you, but she has nobody to talk to. She's kind of, she went from being my best friend growing up. I mean, she should have been a comedian. I talked to a girl in the grocery store when I'm in high school, and she'd walk up behind me, grab my ass, and say, hey, baby, to embarrass me. She was a fun lady.
Funny.
Yeah. Or fart and blame me in line, stuff
I had
like
a girl.
Cool. Yeah. Cool lady. But
I would say this. Do you really want to waste law enforcement's time? Like, I'm not saying your mom's a waste of time, but look, what if there's a woman being beaten and needs the cops and they're on this call? Like, I don't know if again, unless you think she's in imminent danger or going to hurt somebody else. But if she's just fucking being annoying or whatever, then you have to decide, do you want to talk to her? Or if you're just, but if if she's just accidentally calling you, I don't know if you can get law enforcement involved.
No, she's not accidentally calling. She's purposely. She's kind of one of those people that, she's crying out for help. She just doesn't know how to ask for it. Then when we try to help her, she just kind of, oh, well, fuck you, But it's actually, it's gotten to the point where she's driving under the influence of Xanax and parking in a parking lot and calling me. I mean, matter of fact.
Oh, I see. Well, maybe that you're saying, do you call a look, the bottom line is, you may save her life and someone else's life by doing that. Because let's just say she's really drunk.
Yeah.
And she hits somebody and kills them. That's mandatory prison.
Yep. And that's the thing is, I don't know if she'll last in prison, because actually that's what I used to do. I used to be a prison guard in women's prison, 10 times worse than men's prison.
Oh, it's rough, huh?
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure what to do. I just wanted to outside to do. Plus, I like talking to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. Good luck, Jesse, okay?
By the way, buddy, I'm a truck driver. You ever want to see inside of a truck or take a road trip, you let me know, man.
Thanks very much, man.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Bye. Hey, Ed in Baltimore, what's up?
How you doing? I have a situation where there's a girl that I've known for about 10 years, and she's bi, and we used to hook up, and we'd have all these threesomes and stuff, and it was lots of fun, and sometimes I'd bring the girls, and sometimes she would. It was all good fun, and kind of lost touch with her, and then just recently, found her again, hooked up, and now she's still up for it, but now she's she's charging money now. So
okay,
she's gone from good fun to now she's a working girl, and and so of course I'm tempted, but I'm not sure I should go down that road.
How close were you to her the first time? I mean, I've actually had that situation, similar. How close were you to her?
Oh, well, we were friends, but we were more like friends with benefits. We weren't a couple or anything. It was just like, when we got together, we were, just good friends who just happened to both like girls. But it wasn't like a relationship per se.
Well, I mean, is she on drugs? Is she like doing this for sad reasons because her life's in the toilet?
I think her life's pretty shitty, but I don't think she's on drugs. But I think she associates with some less than savory characters. You know what I mean? So, like where she lives is really not a great place. I think she's bipolar, that kind of thing. But I don't think she's on drugs. But she definitely has some mental issues. But so I don't know. There's like my gut feeling says stay away, but of course there's this temptation of obviously if you have one girl who's up for it, it's much easier to get the second girl to join in. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but if your gut's telling you to stay away, then you should probably stay away.
Yeah. I guess I knew that. I just wanted to hear it from the pro.
Yeah, stay away if your gut's telling you. Okay.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye. Let's see here. How about Dan in Michigan? Hi, Dan.
Hey, Jim. Hey, you had mentioned earlier about the Orlando shooter that he specifically targeted that club because they were homosexual, and that's probably the case. I'm not denying that, but I haven't actually heard that being like there's any proof of that because I mean he went and was thinking about attacking Disney. Do we just assume that's the case because that's what happened, or are we sure those were his intentions were to attack because it was a gay club or whatever?
Well, I think that he had talked to his wife about it and he had cased the joint, so she was aware of a plan. So, I don't think anybody accidentally attacks a gay club and shoots 50 people and then tells, I'm going to do this for ISIS. I mean, again, it could be a big thing, but then they find out he's on all these gay apps. He had been to that club before, so he knew exactly why he was doing it.
No, I know.
And he said he didn't like gay people. Everyone was saying he would always talk about how he didn't like gay people and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so he wasn't going on gay apps because he was a closet gay? He was going on gay apps to...
Oh, no. I think he was in the closet, too. I think he was a tormented individual.
Right, but so my point is, like, the guy that shot all the kids in Sandy Hook, he didn't shoot kids because he didn't like kids. He shot kids because they were easy targets. Or maybe he just thought this club happened to be an easy target. But I don't know. I'm just saying.
Maybe, but I again, if there was no other indicators, maybe I would agree with you. But I think there's enough other indicators where it's like, no, this is why he targeted them. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like if two guys have an argument and a guy punches a guy in the face, one of the guys is gay. Like, all right. But if a guy goes, hey, faggot, and punches a guy in the face and the guy is gay, you're like, well, it was probably because he was gay. Why? Because he indicated it by doing something first.
Right. I just think sometimes when I don't know, they're called protected class or, a minority is attacked, whether it be whatever it is. We jump to the conclusion that... I
agree. We tend to do that, but I think in this case, it's a justifiable step and not a jump. I know why you're saying that, and at times we do that, and the race of the perpetrator is always mentioned when they're white, if the victim is black or brown, but that's the media's bias, but in this case, I think it's right.
It's probably is. I'm saying it probably is, yeah.
All right. You're a sweet boy.
Anyway, hey,
Thank you. Take care, man. Only another minute. I can't believe the show's almost over. Josh in NC, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I thought a lot about how to phrase this when I called, but I wanted to thank you, first of all. I knew I had an alcohol problem for the better part of 15 years. I'm married, have a good family, and closetly had a very bad alcohol problem. And one of the main reasons I finally got help and checked in was how uncomfortable I would get listening to your program in certain segments.
Oh, wow.
And I would just like for people out there that think they may have a problem, you probably do, and that there's help out there, and I'm a year and a half sober and happy as I can be, and life is good, and I want people to know that there is help out there, and you're a big part of it. And,
well, thanks,
thank
Josh.
you very much.
That's really nice of you to say. Just passing it along to someone else what worked for me. So I'm happy that it worked out for you so far. That's really good to hear. I appreciate it, buddy. All right?
Thanks, man. Be safe.
All right. Take care, Josh. Thanks. All right, guys. I appreciate the phone lines are still lit. The Jim Norton Show, very popular program, especially since people are possibly going to miss me after October 4th. So get your fill of Jim Norton while you can. My nose is stuffy. Thanks for the calls. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to The Jim Norton Show. Hear all that advice whenever you want to on demand at SiriusXM.com/on-demand. On SiriusXM is real.